Saddest polar bear in the world gets a stroke of good luck that's transforming his life. You wouldn't want to face a polar bear in the wild. Well, they make the most adorable cubs. Fully grown bears are powerful creatures that can do some serious damage to an adult in just a matter of seconds. Still, humans manage to be their #1 enemy. Not only do we harm wild polar bears through hunting, fishing, and climate change, but we've been known to lock some up for the sake of our entertainment. One polar bear's mistreatment broke hearts all around the world, but his luck, along with a number of other animals sharing his position, may be changing. Back in 2016, a mall opened in Guangzhou, China, called the Grandview Shopping Mall. It was supposed to be the city's new pride and joy, boosting the economy through retail and tourism. That wish did not entirely come true. To make Grandview stand out, it was designed to be much larger than your average shopping mall, and any space that was unoccupied by stores was to be used for entertainment. While art displays, games, or performances are a wonderful way to amuse customers, the creators of Grandview had something else in mind: aquariums. Large in the eyes of onlookers, but small for the animals trapped inside. See, these were not large tanks filled with small fish and crabs. The captive animals were all separated, and most of them lived entirely alone. Behind the glass walls dwelled beluga whales, walruses, wolves, and one very unhappy bear. Meet the world's saddest polar bear, Pizza, who was living in the mall and served as entertainment for passing shoppers. There, he quickly grew anxious, scared, and lonely, but nobody seemed to care. Not only are polar bears supposed to live in packs, but they're meant to roam much further than the estimated 52 square foot they get per Grandview enclosure. There was hardly any space to run around or swim at all. One bear paced back and forth, displaying behavior that experts say reflects stress and possible psychological problems, the Washington Post described. Wolves lay listlessly, while belugas swam back and forth in confined spaces. To make matters worse, the mall was open from 10 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. almost every single day, and there was nowhere for these creatures to hide from the thousands of prying eyes that came to see them. People banged on the glass, used flash photography, and crowded around the restless animals. The sad part was, that was the only thing that kept the cage tenants occupied. There were no toys or games, only emptiness and chaos. Pizza the bear was the mall's favorite furry attraction, which caused him a lot of suffering. But this eventually worked to his advantage. You see, people began posting pictures of him online, and internet outrage ensued. Angry animal lovers were calling the enclosures a prison and urged for Pizza to be removed from the mall. Animal rights groups, Animals Asia, even launched a petition to close all the aquariums in the mall and got 270,000 signatures. Taking animals from their natural environments is never right, but when they're rehomed in conditions like these, it's the worst situation, said a group spokesman. We all need to continue to publicly object to such facilities. The problem was that laws around animal rights are fairly lax in China. They must be fed and get medical treatment if needed, but the happiness of these creatures is not required for their captivity to be legal. Many nonprofit organizations offer to take Pizza in and give him a better life, including a large wildlife park in England. But the owners of Grandview weren't ready to part with their most prized asset. Still, Grandview did seem to bend under all the social pressure. Only a few months later, they released a statement saying Pizza would be relocated so they could expand his enclosure. Luckily, Pizza's temporary living quarters would be in his birthplace, Tianjin Haicheng Polar Ocean World in northern China. They would provide him with a larger enclosure, toys, and some very special company. As it so happened, Pizza's mom was still living at Ocean World and would once again be sharing an enclosure with her son. The two were ecstatic to see each other after all this time. They didn't have to be alone anymore. Even though Pizza was set to return to Grandview in 2017, he's remained in Tianjin to this day. Every day he bonded with his mama bear, played with cones and buckets, and caught fish tossed by his caretakers. To see this bear playing and not focused on pattern behavior, that made me really happy, said a program officer from National Geographic. He looks a million times better. It may not be the best place in the world for any bear, but at least in Tangine, pizza no longer suffered for selfies. But let's not forget the other animals who still live at the Grandview Mall. With enough petitions, hopefully they'll soon see happier days. Of course, it's not only captive polar bears who need a helping paw sometimes. Mankind has indirectly caused a great amount of other trouble. Hunting, melting ice caps, fishing, and boating often end up hurting Arctic wildlife.